FTX, the giant within the futures trading industry. It had auditors, but why did it still collapse? At the peak of this company, they were valued at billions of dollars, and millions of investors were willing to invest and deposit their money within the company to trade futures. But at the back end of this company, there were a lot of issues. More specifically, with the ethics and with the internal controls of this company. What FTX used to do is that they had this sister company known as Alameda Research. The deposits that they received from their millions of investors, they would transfer these funds to Alameda Research, and Alameda Research would reinvest this amount within FTX to make profits. Now, on one side, we have Alameda Research, who is holding billions of dollars, and on the other end, we have FTX, which has essentially millions of investors who have deposited their money and would use this money to predict the market. As the old saying within economics goes, when the demand for an element increases, the price of that element would also increase within future. And this is the exact information which FTX used to give to Alameda Research, based upon which Alameda would invest on elements within the market, essentially gold, crypto futures, or other elements. Now, at first, this information was kept confidential. No one knew about this. But suddenly within the market, there was a news article which relayed all of this information to the investors and to the general public who had their deposits within FTX. As soon as they got this information, they made a run to withdraw their money from FTX. And at that time, FTX had nothing within their accounts because all of that fund was transferred to Alameda Research. So now, as we have understood the basic principality behind this fraud, the question is still there. Why was the auditor of this FTX company not able to identify this fraud way before this actually occurred? Because this had been going on for the last 2.5 years, 2020 and before that. Essentially, this is what we are taught within our ACCA exams as well. Professional skepticism. The auditors of this company had lost their professional skepticism. They were not skeptic of this company anymore. Whatever the management was telling to this company, the auditors used to rely on this. Secondly, if the auditors would have identified these internal control deficiencies, this fraud would have never actually occurred. But they did not identify these internal control deficiencies as well. After this fraud was leaked to the public, the general public, including the SEC, raised a lot of concerns about the auditors within the US. Essentially, this is also a reason why, as an auditor, you have to identify whether the management is properly following the internal controls within the company or not, which is also known as management override of controls. And now, as an ACCA student, you also know why you are taught about internal controls, management override of controls, ethics, and professional skepticism. Thank you.